Hello everybody, my name is Olga Bochareva. I'm a relationships coach and advanced fast EFT practitioner. Welcome to this series called Date Night with Olga. In this series, I'm answering your questions on dating, relationships, tapping, anything and everything that I absolutely love and adore and feel excited about. And today's question came from one of the members in our community, and it's around the 5 top relationship challenges or problems every couple face. So I'm really excited to talk about this. This particular research came from a book that I'm very passionate about and a teacher that I absolutely adore by Gay Hendricks and his wife Kathy Hendricks. And so I'm really excited to talk to you more about this and of course offer some solutions to move forward. Before we jump in and before I forget, I wanted to let you know that I'm actually hosting a free webinar next week. If you're watching it at the time I'm recording it, it's on Wednesday, October 3rd. Now I'll make sure to drop a link so you can come and join me and chat with me about it and ask me questions. But we'll be going to be talking about how to meet emotionally available man. This is the topic my clients ask me a lot, and we have a lot of conversations in this topic in our community, Tap Into Your Best Relationship Community. And so if you have not joined us yet, feel free to jump in and join, and I'm very excited to talk about this. Now, if you're listening to this after October 3rd, no worries, I'll make sure you have an opportunity to get on a waiting list so you'll be the first to notified when I run my live events. Alrighty, so let's begin. What I wanted to start with, guys, is whatever challenges or whatever issues you are facing in your relationships, or maybe somebody who is facing in their relationships, the first and most important thing that we want to say is that there are 2 parts in the relationships, right? So there's wife and husband, or your partners, and so the only one that you can resolve is yours, right? So you can only take responsibility for your part in these relationships. And this is actually very liberating, because I remember when I was in a very toxic marriage, this is something that I struggled with. I really, really wanted my husband to help him improve, to help him change. And I was just hitting my head against the wall. Anybody been there? Right? And so I wanted to talk to you about it from the perspective. It's important to understand what those challenges are, and it's important to understand what the solutions are, but you always and only can take part of your responsibility for your part of this journey. Let's begin. So the runner-up, the number 1 on the list is, drum roll, you got it. I think everybody knows this one, right? It's money. Money is number 1 when people fight about. Money is number 1 people disagree about. They have a hard time to communicate about it healthily. And one of the reasons why is because we've never been taught how to talk about money in a healthy way. As a matter of fact, research shown that people would rather talk about sex when they are dating than they talk about money. And even someone who considers themselves rather financially intelligent, I started dating, it took me weeks, maybe even months, to ask Ernie, who's my husband now, what is his net worth, right? Net worth is how much money he has, right? And I was really, really dreading this. But I also, early in a relationship, I told them, listen, I want to learn how to talk about money. I want to learn how to communicate healthy about money, because it's been some of my things that I've been really, really struggling with, and I want to let it go. So now, needless to say, we have a budget and we have ways that, have flexibility and structure behind our money, how we want to spend it, how we want to save it, do we want to do a vacation fund? So we are learning these skills, and it's very, very liberating, because I remember the conversation about money never being part of my journey in the previous relationships. So that's number 1. Number 2, I don't know if you guys want to guess, and it's very close with number 3. So number 2 is chores, number 3 is sex. So let's talk about chores first. So chores is everything that has to do with what gets done around the house, right? Things like who washing the dishes, and who's cleaning the toilet, and who's doing the vacuum, and who's doing the laundry. And that's another thing that I've been struggling a lot in my previous marriage. I just could never get my ex-husband to do the dishes. And it's so funny, I was working with Fast EFT practitioner at that time, and she said, Olga, it's very simple. All what you gotta do, just kind of tap on it, visualize him getting off the couch, going and offering you help. Like, he'll never do it. And she said, listen, if you cannot even picture this, of course he cannot do it. So I started tapping, I started picturing. Sure enough, he never done it. But Ernie, on the other hand, loved washing dishes. So it didn't work for my previous relationship. It totally works now. And the way our responsibilities are in our families, I love cooking, so I do a lot of that. And he loved dishes. So 80% of dishes he does, and 80% of cooking I do. And then some other things, we have kids who help out, right? So we have chores. We have a list of chores there. And so there are ways to talk about it and to decide on how to deal with chores if you are in a conscious relationships. And this is the topic, and this is the issue that I'm most excited about and I'm most passionate about teaching women and helping people understand what this conscious relationship means. And here's the truth, all of these 5 issues are non-issues when you are in a conscious relationships. So I'll go more into details of what does it mean and what are the foundational ideas behind it and how to become that in the webinar. So if you haven't signed up yet, I highly recommend to join. So chores is the second one. So the third one is, of course, sex. And here's the truth, guys, like, who been taught ever how to talk about sex in a healthy way, right? So most of us, been raised with the idea that sex is something dirty, that's something that guys like to do and women have to do, or speaking about it makes you like a whore or something, or it's and here's the truth, guys, I still don't have a whole lot of girlfriends that I can talk to sex about. And the funny thing is that I have a really good sexual life right now. I always want to brag about and share some things and experiments. And I do not have a community of women that I can openly talk about this. But this is one of the topics that I'm starting to talk more and more, to teach my clients more and more. And the good news that I can talk about it with my partner, right? So my husband, Ernie, we learned how to talk about it. And it was not easy for us at first. We had to consciously decide that this is one of the things that we want to be able to experience on a greater level. And in the previous, lives, we didn't have such a good experience with that. And so the good news is it's a teachable skill. You can learn it, your partner can learn it, or if you are dating or if you're just, getting into the world, finding someone, you can find someone who is either on a similar journey or who is just as curious of improving that part of his life. Alrighty, number 4 is actually children, right? So if you don't have children, I don't know, maybe it's pets or something. But children is another one that people or couples arguing about or disagreeing about. And that's true too. I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and 8-year-old, and sure enough, me and my ex, we have disagreed on a number of items around it. Actually, this was one of the least of our concerns. We haven't had that many disagreements. It's something that's actually kept us in a relationship for longer. And it's so amazing. I did a quick 1-question email lately, and I asked my community, what are some things that you are challenged with? And one of the women, she wrote to me, said, "Olga, listen, I am in a relationship that I know has run its course. There is no passion. There is no connection. I know we are not a good fit, but I don't have guts to leave because I have kids and I'm staying in there for kids." And here's the truth, guys. So if you are in a similar situation where kids is what keeping you together, then I'm just, and this is a hard thing to say because I've been there when I was thinking, well, we just want to stay together for the kids, right? Or we don't want to harm the kids. We don't want to hurt the kids. We don't want kids to have parents who are divorced. And this is absolutely backward, because if kids are living in a family where parents are not happy, when they are not fulfilled, when they're not communicating, when they don't have an opportunity to observe this deep, unconditional, gorgeous love, you are not serving your children. You are teaching them something that you don't want yourself. Really hot topic. It's a topic for the whole different webinar, right? Not even a video, but a webinar. But I did want to mention that number 1, I understand where you are. There was time when I knew that this relationship is not working, and I was walking in a park. And as now I remember, I was walking by, there was ducks here and there was water there. And I couldn't even say word divorce out loud because I was trying to tap on it, right? And I would say, and I would just break into tears. So we're conditioned to stay in marriage, to stay in a relationship till death do us part, right? Like, especially if you're in a marriage. And here's the truth. That's the thing what a lot of people do. So my other business BFF, brilliant fast EFT practitioner, Pat, she said, "Olga, I got sick when I was starting going through divorce." And she goes like, what happened in my case is that I had this belief till death do us part. And sure enough, when I was going through separation, I started dying. She goes like, all kind of diseases started happening in my body, the Lyme disease, the tumor, you name it, I had it. I was lying down for months. I couldn't get up from the bed, or barely could get up from the bed. I had so little energy. And when I actually went through the divorce and I used tapping to help me with all of these conditions, all of a sudden the illness wasn't there. A couple down the road, I remarried, and I'm with a guy who is actually good for me. And so start looking at some of these things, and if anything, if this conversation can encourage you to look at the children issues from the perspective of, okay, parents' life unlived is the worst thing you can do for them, right? So if you are not following your dream, if you're not doing what's important for you in some way, shape, or form, your children are observing it. They are the one who's struggling. I think the honest truth is this whole journey started for me when I had children. It was the best life learning experience, one of the hardest thing that I had to do is when I had children. But I told to myself, listen, it stops here, because I came from generations of women that didn't care of themselves, that didn't know how to communicate healthy, that felt guilt all the time. And I said, it stops here, right? This is the last generation when my kids inheriting these things, and I want them to experience something different. I want them to experience unconditional love. I want them to experience intimate, juicy relationship between their parents. Or in my case, it's Ernie is not his parent, but he's the next best thing to parent. He's his stepdad. He's great with kids. He's great with me. And they are seeing all that. And that's the best gift you can give to your kids. So number 5, choice number 5 is really funny. It's actually food. I would actually think it's something else, but it's food. I was thinking like a scheduling or something. And so there are stories of people fighting over sushi, and somebody who loves sushi, who doesn't like sushi. But I think this particular category is just really those little things that we started to get upset or annoyed about when we are not happy, right? And food is one of them. And so I wanted to go a little bit more on how to address this issue. So I'm going to be super, super quick just to kind of give you an idea on how to experience less of challenging relationships and more ease. And I'll talk more about it on the webinar, but here's the idea that deeply touched me, and I can see how it works so well on so many levels in the lives of people that are around me and in my own personal journey. When you are with a partner, or when you are looking for a partner, or actively searching for a partner, there's 3 ways people connect. There's 3 different ways how people interact with each other and how they connect. The first one is a very surface level. That's the one where it's more of a look, right? So it's very often it's a rich or an older guy, and it's a younger, more good-looking girl, and they connect on the level of looks and physical attraction, right? It's also one of the youngest kind of couples, right? So when you are very young, when you're in your teens, you don't really know yourself very well, that's the level of attraction. It's very surfacey, it's very looks-based, it's very physical attraction based. Now, by itself, it's not the best, not the worst thing. But if you are a deep conscious woman, it will never be enough for you, right? So you will always look for more. So that's the first level of connecting. The second level of connecting is a little bit of a deeper one. That's the one of a common interest. That's the one where you're looking for intelligence in your partner. It's more over a mind level. Or some maybe both people like golf, or both people like traveling, or both people like conversations about food. So this is a little bit deeper because you're starting to connect based on some of your habits, based on some of your interests, based on some of your other things that are not as deep as heart matters, that are not as deep as values, but still a little bit deeper. Now, the third level of connection, stay with me, is the one that has to do with these core values, with understanding your core values, communicating them, and most importantly, ready? Living them. So if you can live your core values from deep inside, you can become that person you want to attract, that's where all problems starting to be insignificant. So if your core value is the one of integrity, the one of service, the one of connection, then you will attract a similar heart-centered person with these values. So I think most people that come to me, they actually desire this deep connection. Now, I want you to know that not everybody desires this connection. There is a group of people who match perfectly on a surface level. There is a group of people who match perfectly on the habits level. But the people who work with me and the kind of person I am is the one who is interested in a deeper connections. Now, when you create this deeper connection with your current partner, or if you find somebody who is interested in this type of relationships, there are less problems because you naturally have other person interest in mind, right? So if you have this deep, beautiful connection, talking about money is not a big deal. You offer chores, sex becomes easy because intimacy is sexy, and because truth is sexy, and because talking about scary stuff is sexy. And so I want you to consider, what level of woman are you? How deep are you? Have you developed this depth? Do you understand what it means? Do you understand how to practice it? So this teaching, as I mentioned, I took it directly from Davis D at work. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's brilliant. And I'll go more into this. Until then, thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Sandra, thank you so much for asking this question. I think it's a great question. And until next time, I can wait to help you tap into your best relationships ever. Bye.